One man is not the source of all your problems, but they can definitely make it worse. Today, the whole point of this video is talking about the One Piece TCG. Prices are getting out of hand. EVO 3 prices on pre-sale got up to $660. And we're going to go over some of the limiting factors to what's going on. Now, the thumbnail, you obviously see Logan Paul. Now, a lot of people are going to blame him directly. I mean, he's bought a couple cases and got some boxes. I don't think that he directly did that price increase anything to do with that. It's the influences that he's had coming from Pokemon and all of the huge movement of people trying to invest in these things. Now, I understand the history of Pokemon. People want to get in on that action. Everyone can relate. But doing it so early and viciously at this level, it's affecting distribution. Now, we're going to talk about, firstly, Logan Paul. I want to first mention, at one point in history, I was a fan of Logan Paul. I'm a grown man. I was probably 18 at the time. If you know anything about Logan Paul's history, the video that got me is when he was like, colorblind man sees color. Some of those videos are like, it is what it is. You could say it's corny, but I watched it. They were enjoyable. When he got canceled for The Forest, I could understand, I would have probably reacted the same way Logan did. I laugh in most every stressful situation. Morbid situations. Now, his problem is he went there and filmed it. I think in hindsight, maybe he could have tried to get a tour guide. Have someone in the culture respectfully go over it. Maybe in their culture, they don't even want to have a tour guide for that. Maybe you could go to a surrounding village and talk about it. I think that would have been way more impactful. Maybe he even knows that now. For me, where I fell out is when he started pushing Prime so heavily. I'm fine with content creators having products. I am. It's when he started comparing Prime to Liquid IV. Now, I'm not sponsored by Liquid IV, but I have underlying health conditions. I have POTS and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Now, those conditions affect my collagen and my blood pressure. Hydration. I lose all of my salt through the bathroom. When I go number one, I lose most of the salt in my system. So hydration supplements are very important, and they help me, and they prevent me from throwing up and having terrible vomiting. I can't think of the word. Vomiting sessions. Now, Liquid IV, that will make me feel a lot better. And when you're pushing this product so heavily, comparing it, making a competitor to an actual product that would help people, it was very disingenuous, and that's what got me, because he's just very hyped about selling as much money worth of Prime as he could, not the actual benefits. In my opinion, Prime's more equivalent to a Gatorade, which Gatorade has its place. Sports teams, it actually does stuff. The sugar in it, that's a good boost for athletes. But Liquid IV has things like salt content, things that actually boost hydration. Getting that out of the way, what he did with Pokemon, how he would crack cards out and then resend them to PSA, and he would get the numbers that people didn't get with the same card. That exposes how the industry is not perfect. And his movement to sell the biggest card, the card worth the most money, do the biggest deals and trades, and then when he goes to start opening these boxes, you see all these other, I don't want to use a derogatory word, all these other people who have these cases behind them. See this wall of windows lighting that's probably making you not want to watch? Like, they have cases back here with LED lights surrounding, like, woo! That's taking away from players. And that's what I want to do. Like, so many card games are archaic and hard to understand. One Piece card game is playable. It might be weird at first, but if you're going to a locals, the people explain everything very concisely. By your third match, you're probably going to still make some mistakes, but you're going to have fun and understand what the new cards are doing that are coming out and be a part of what's going on in the TCG. Again, like I said, he's not anything to do with these most recent crazy price increases, but it's just another light shining on the pile. And everyone is calling everyone a Poke Bro. I think the main issue is you need to play the card game. You know, if you're buying a product, you need to play the game. And we have a problem that goes deeper because it's with the distributors. You know, these local game stores are getting all this product to the only people with the product, and they're pushing it at crazy prices because they know it'll sell at these prices, but that is gouging the market. You know, at a certain point, we have to request Bandai get involved. Japan doesn't have this problem because they make so much product for Japan. You know, that's why people can afford to buy Japanese cards and even try to collect some of their cards. We need more printing. I think everyone can agree. Even people like Alpha Investments, Rudy. He runs into problems. I've only seen a couple of videos, probably 4, but I've watched a good amount of them. Probably 30 out of the 40 minutes. Skipping, doing that 10-second skip. Yeah, hit me with some skips. And he's saying that sets, when they become such little of a print run with such a high price, his patrons, because he has, I'm assuming, a Patreon where people can give money and then they have access to the supply he gets. He'll get these sets that are printed so little and they're so high priced that he can't give it to his patrons because he doesn't have enough. And he can't give a good enough price. So obviously people are going to get really upset. I think there is a place for that kind of thing, but I think everyone and their mom has tried to become a Rudy type of person. So we have this guy whose basement's full with 1,300 cases of something. Sometimes he doesn't even sell them at all. That's just killing inventory. That's killing playable cards. And a problem, I'm assuming every card game has this. I know Magic has a rotation. The block for One Piece, those blue bottoms, I do think they're still going to be worth money, but all the cards in them are going to be worthless to players. And that's who a lot of these people are, whether they know it or not, are trying to take advantage of in this booming One Piece TCG. So the players aren't going to want those blue bottoms. Now some players are collectors too, so they're going to want them, but that's not the players. And again, the point I have to reiterate is this is the most playable card game that I've been a part of. Now, my brain doesn't work like everyone else's, but for me, it's the symbol on each card of what it specifically does, and then the writing it out if it does something more advanced than that, on specific instances. Yes, people get cards wrong, obviously, and I think cards are going to start getting more and more and more complicated. That's why it's important to introduce playing to more and more people as early as possible. These huge buyouts, where everyone buys up all the product, and they're holding on to it, and they're putting it on TCG player. Oh, man. Now, local game stores, even for their locals, they'll maybe guarantee them one box at a decent price, but then the rest of their supply is going online next to these exorbitant prices. And it happens in every TCG, and people say, oh, it'll only be better once it's dead. And some people, for example, the UA card game doesn't want people getting into it because their prices are still good. And I can understand, you know, I've played the UA card game a little bit. I borrowed a deck from the one of the employees at the local game store I go to. I think I lost every match, which is still fine, but it was enjoyable. For me, it was a little more hard to understand, but I did get through the matches. One Piece is going to keep getting more and more and more and more expensive because all the people who are in it, they're still fans of the IP who aren't familiar or don't even understand what's going on as far as a card game. Once they get into it, these prices could even double what we're seeing at the 660 for the EBO3. That doesn't mean the prices are okay. That means we need more supply. Now, yes, everyone's saying there's not enough printing machines. They're trying to print more. They don't have the supply. I get it. There's a bigger issue going on. We need more good nature from our LGSs. We need our local game stores to sell product at better prices. And, you know, some try. But those higher end people who are posting hundreds of boxes at 660, they need to stop getting supply. And unfortunately, I don't think we can have too many Rudies around. Now, I don't want to talk anything about Magic. He has investments in Magic. He can do Magic all day long. One Piece, I've been watching One Piece since I was a boy. My brother, 5 years my elder, his favorite anime was Dragon Ball Z. You know, it's very cool, very impressive. He's always had Vegeta gear, you know, like a button-up shirt of Vegeta, a Vegeta figurine. He was so inspired by that anime. And I liked it, but some things I didn't enjoy. I was a little younger than him. Maybe it was loud for me. I don't know exact reason. But when I first seen a One Piece episode, I'm assuming it was probably late night on Funimation. I'm not sure what it was called. Adult Swim, the portion where they put on anime. Dun 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 dun. The One Piece. That was such, you know, I was very young. Those episodes came out probably before I was born, and when they were airing, maybe anywhere from 2005 to 2010. I was maybe 8 to 10 years old. It was almost a gritty kind of thing, hearing that it's pirates, there's blood, you know, people are shrieking, fights are happening. And you could make a claim maybe I shouldn't have been watching it. Understandable. I think back in that time, things were a lot less strict, and over time, things always get more clamped down. But it was so inspiring. You know, Luffy was so happy. And Gum Pistol! Like, the first Gum Pistol put shivers down my spine. He was using his power. He was putting it into action. You know, a pirate, someone who's supposed to be a bad person. His goals weren't to be a bad person. His goals were to be free, you know? And that was very inspiring. Watching along the anime, reading a manga when I can. So many different arcs. Marineford arc. At first, I hated Ace as a character. As you see, if you watch any videos on this channel, I'm practically an Ace fanboy at this point. You know, Dressrosa, epic battles of epic proportion. Them fighting the whole island practically. Usopp having to hit those wacky maneuvers. Zoro doing that slice on Pika. Everyone getting in their licks. Luffy and Law going against Doflamingo. All of these episodes contribute to the show. Now, something I have to say, do you really think, like, in Pokemon, Ash and Pikachu might not even get the concept. They're like, oh, Pokemon Center EBs? Makes sense, that's where you gotta get the cards. They're trying their best to print more, stuff runs out, busy city. I feel like Pokemon would be totally okay with what happens in Pokemon. I don't think Magic has a main character like that. I'm sure there's like people like Urza or whatever the people's names are. I'm not fully familiar. But I don't think there's like one main guy. One Piece, the main guy, Luffy, every place he's gone where things are overpriced or there's oppression or they're trying to hold people hostage over a commodity, he smashes that right in the face. He takes all people who are oppressing other groups and he brings freedom. He smashes it right down. Like, I genuinely think if Luffy could have a concept of what's happening with people scalping this market, he would go and try to take their product and give it out. Now, obviously, you know that's not real. It's a fantasy. This whole thing's a fantasy. It's a fantasy card game. This is the real world. We're living in a time where people are scalping food. They're buying things from Walmart, putting it on Amazon. Retail arbitrage. Thanks, Gary V. We have to ask ourselves, what do we do? What are you to do? Do nothing? Whine. I've whined about a lot of things in my life. There's a certain point where you ask for a call to action. Yeah, ask Bandai to print more. Yeah, but that's not going to solve anything. Have Bandai hold the distributors more accountable, or have certain cards that are going out of rotation be able to get directly ordered from Bandai, individual singles. Yeah, that would be weird. That would ruin whole markets. That's a big ask. But I think this card game is going to be super playable in households worldwide. I think families are going to play this game during Thanksgiving and Christmas. You could keep it in a cupboard and play it like it's chess. Things move on. We had Monopoly of old. Our attention spans aren't as set up for Monopoly. This card game might take some explaining, but on a snowy day, you could get some people into this. There's different character designs for every kind of person. There's cool cards, interesting cards for different play styles. The reason I'm making this video is because I want to keep playing the card game. But if the prices keep going at this rate, I cannot. And everyone says buy singles, buy singles. Still buying singles, you have to pay at least $100 for cards. Things are getting pretty bad in singles because people are buying up all the stock of everything. They need more prints on these cards. All of this to say, I want to keep playing. Let me know how hard it's been for you to play, or if it's easy. Let me know if things are changing. Talk about how you feel towards Bandai, what you think they should do, if anything at all. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you're from a different perspective. If you're a player. To other people, you can say whatever you want. Thank you for watching. This has been Rogie Peace, a midman, and his plan to do something, anything at all. Subscribe, like, and comment down below. See you next time.